Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool. Jonathan, Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year, 2026.
It's been a couple of weeks, a couple of weeks since we met.
Mm-hmm.
So good to see we all survived the holidays and made it back here to the old studio.
That's right.
And on our first episode of 2026, we've got a guest joining us today. And we're going to be talking about the 5 neurochemicals that trigger buying behavior. So this is some sciencey stuff that we're going to talk about
this
today.
one before Christmas, but it didn't work out that way.
No. You can use it next year. You should be designing your campaigns probably more than a week ahead. So
exactly.
Unlike us in our planning for our show. So we'll be talking about the 5 neurochemicals that trigger buying behavior. And let me do the intro real quick, then we can jump in. So our guest today is Dawn Apuan. She's a top copywriter and funnel strategist who helps thought leaders, coaches, and speakers write like a CEO so they can attract premium clients, sell out high-ticket offers, and multiply their impact with powerful messaging using the voice print system. A former pastor and nonprofit executive director, she now channels her gift for words into helping purpose-driven entrepreneurs scale with clarity and confidence. Her clients have landed 5-figure paydays, 2 Comma Club awards, and sales within 24 hours without endless content or exhausting sales calls. Please welcome to the show, Dawn Apuan. Crowd is fired up this new year.
That's right.
Welcome.
Very excited. I'm excited.
Go.
All right. Well, what part of the world are you in, Dawn?
I am near Seattle, Washington.
Okay. It's nice up there.
It is.
Got those big, giant evergreen trees that are, so cool.
How many days a year does it rain up there? I mean, how many months out of the year? It's probably 9 months out of the year?
If you're my husband, he would say 11 and a half, but it really doesn't. We have beautiful summers that have hardly any rain, but yes, the rain in the winter is pretty exhausting.
Yeah.
My senior year of high school, it rained for 124 days straight. I think that, at least at the time, was the record.
Wow.
It gets a little wet.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
I mean, those are some big trees that need water. So, I mean, it makes sense and you had a lot of lakes or sounds or whatever they're called out there. So how far, which side of Seattle are you on, or how far from Seattle are you?
I'm about 30 miles north, and I'm right on the Puget Sound. I'm like 10 minutes from the water. And then my little neighborhood has 2 lakes. So we have over 8,000 lakes in our state.
Yeah.
And the water's right there. The mountains are an hour away. So I love having
so you're the
water
opposite direction of like Mount Rainier. You're the opposite.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. North. I grew up at the base of Rainier, but
So you weren't affected by any of the floods last month?
We were not. We're literally on a cliff. Like if I walk half a block, I look down into the valley, which was completely underwater. About a month ago. I've never seen it like that in my life. It was wild. We had one community about an hour north of us that had water up to their door handles of their homes. That's how much water. We had a long atmospheric river is what they call it. I don't have any recollection of those happening in childhood, but that is what we keep getting. And the atmospheric river just flooded lots of communities around here, but we are fortunate to be up on a cliffside above sea level.
Wow.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, that's oof. I mean, we've seen that happen, across the country, different places. So
yeah.
It's crazy. Now everything's got a name, right? Like before we just had weather. Now it's like everything has a name. It's bomb cyclones, atmospheric rivers. The more sensational, the better. It's like a bunch of copywriters.
Copywriting.
Yes. At the Weather Channel hired some copywriters or something. Well, Dawn, we're going to be getting into, the 5 neurochemicals. Give us a little taste of why listeners might want to stick around. Just a little teaser.
Little
teaser about the science behind. I think we often hear like tips and tricks and hacks for copy. And while some of those can work sometimes, and we learn things like, hey, don't say learned, say discover because of what it does in our brain. But what our conversation is going to be about is not so much about the specific words, although there are specific words that trigger these 5 chemicals. It's what are these 5 chemicals? What's the right order? And how do these actually trigger buying behaviors? And I've seen with implementing these changes, people go from 0 sales to a bunch of sales, literally overnight, because of the power of our brain chemicals when we make buying decisions. So definitely stick around. This is going to be a fun conversation.
Cool. So it's not just the 5 chemicals, it's in a specific order.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So you got to stick around for the whole 5 or else you're not going to do it.
That's right.
That's for sure. So, all right. Well, let's, Dawn, do you have a beverage? You don't have a beverage today. You have a
H2O
water. That's a beverage, I guess. I should say water is not a beverage. It's the original beverage. So
you mentioned even before the show, you have a story behind, so you don't drink. So tell us, give us the story, because you teased it with us, but our audience didn't hear it.
Yes, I don't drink. I do just have water in here.
Yeah.
And the history behind that has to do with, I was a pastor for almost a decade prior to getting into copywriting. And when I did that, I worked with a lot of drug and alcohol addicts and helping them recover and turn their life around. And I saw really the depths and the dark side of addiction, whether it was from people who destroyed their family lives to people who OD'd that I knew, that kind of thing. So seeing the really dark underbelly, I guess, of what happens with too much consumption and, always wanting to be in a position where I wasn't a stumbling block to anybody. I honestly have never even been interested, even before I did that work. And some of it has to do with my religious background, but also just seeing what happens when it gets taken too far. So not that I have anything against drinking itself. I know a lot of people, I'm like, it's fine. But I wanted to kind of be set apart so that I was never a stumbling block to those that I was serving.
Yeah, that's
makes sense.
Good. It's also like, it's one of those things like an emergency room doctor, is even more, they put more emphasis on wearing helmets or things like that because they see it's, you're going to see a little bit more or a lot more than the average person does. So whenever you're in that kind of situation where you're deep in it, it can definitely, shape your opinions, but it sounds like you had that stand anyway before that too. So, well, we're drinking. So
you can just ignore us when we
describe us. We'll feel a little guilty, but that's okay.
Not the first time.
There's no judgment or shame here.
Oh,
Jonathan, what do you have on your end? I'll make you go first.
Okay. Well, I'm going to showcase my guilty Sam Adams. So I have a Sam Adams, or no, not a Sam Adams, Samuel Smith's. This is the 2025 Winter Welcome Ale. It's one of their seasonal beers. It's a limited edition brewed for the short days and long winter nights. The full body resulting from fermentation in the stone Yorkshire squares and the luxurious malt character, which will appeal to a broad range of drinkers. Oof. It's it's bad copy. So maybe we could do some critiquing on this. 6% ABV. Yeah, looks good. It's a new one. So I've had all of Samuel Smith's seasonals. So
good brand.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got from probably what is my favorite brewer at this point is Martin House Brewing Company. I've got a Hearts on Fire. Is what it's called.
Do you remember that from Rocky?
It is a boxer on the can. The heart is a boxer. So
that was my favorite song from was it Rocky IV when he fought Drago?
And it is a Russian Imperial Stout.
Oh,
yes. You are on the theme, Jonathan. You nailed the theme. So
I love it.
I've already got mine poured in my new mug that Chug Jonathan sent me for Christmas.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like a wooden mug with a rope handle. Is that not cool? Like
that's awesome.
And then
We
it's got
feel
like
like
this
Vikings
stainless.
now. We're going to be
Yeah.
like good old Vikings here.
Yes.
Chugging it up.
So, very cool.
Selling that as merch.
Yes. I tried to get them to send us free ones earlier in the year. They didn't respond. So
Yeah.
Oh well, we'll give them a little plug here anyway.
Maybe now that we bought them, they'll reconsider.
Maybe send us a set. All right. Well, let's cheers it up to a good episode.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We need a new sound, Jonathan, for our mugs since they're wood.
I know. I'll have to find one.
A wood clink sound.
A little wood clunk.
The downside is we can't see the color of these, right? I mean,
I can tell you a 10% ABV Russian Imperial Stout is dark. Very, very dark.
Yeah. What was that what was the ABV again?
10%.
10%. Okay.
Yeah. So getting towards cough medicine land, that's strong. So, well, Don, we usually rate our beverages 1 to 5 pints, 5 being the best. Use any decimal point you want. Is that highly filtered water? Is it from a Berkeley filter? How good is that water?
Yeah.
It's filtered, but I wouldn't say highly filtered. So I guess I'll go with 4.5.
But is it mountain water, like spring water, or is it just tap water straight out of the tap?
Just
filtered tap water.
Tap. Yeah.
Okay. Nothing wrong with
Sorry.
that. Nothing wrong with that.
You're probably better off. Most of these premium bottled, bottled
it's a scam.
Waters,
they're good
it's all a
marketers.
scam. Yeah, they're all private labeled, and it's probably from the same place.
That's the best marketing of the last 50 years is bottled water. I mean, what a racket.
And what else can you get for 25 cents at the grocery store, but like $15 on an airplane?
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Crazy. Jonathan, what do you give your Sam Smith there?
I'm going to give it a 3.9. It's okay. Just nothing special. Just a 6% ale, dark ale, winter ale. So no different than any other dark ale that I might have around this time of year. So
yeah, mine's definitely got the kind of the alcohol taste to it as the Russian Imperial Stout does. And it doesn't have like a underlying flavor, like a coffee or anything else. So I'm going to I'll do the same 3.9. Like it's not quite 4 and up territory.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because it's not cheap. So that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But,
you would think at least you're not fooled by that premium pricing, in your mind. You're going to give it a fair
of course.
rating.
Of course. Yeah, of course. All right. Well, Don, let's jump in. I'm excited to learn about this. And you've even got some AI stuff that we're going to work into here during the show. But how do you want to start this? We heard your background a little bit, and I think it's interesting. You're a pastor, because I know in my 15 years or so writing copy, I've met quite a few people who have made that same transition. I think Ray Edwards was mentioned in your longer bio.
Oh, yeah.
He made that same jump. There's something about that ability to tell stories in a certain order in a sermon. A sermon is very much like a sales letter.
Yeah. What is that book that you've mentioned? I've thought about that book recently, Sean, on
the sermon. 12 Essential Skills of Preaching.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Really good.
Actually, one I haven't read.
Yeah, it's actually really good because it actually goes through, it talks about how the different roles that you have to play in a sermon, from like teacher to attorney to you have to wear these different hats as you progress through the sermon, a good sermon, to, do that. So
interesting.
Yeah.
What'd be fascinating is taking that. I don't know if there's examples in the book, and then running it through Neurocopy and just seeing if it follows triggering the same chemicals.
Yeah. And as soon as you said that, I was like, ooh, that could be a custom GPT as well. Never thought about that until
that's right.
now. But yeah, there's definitely a framework there that is pretty good, because you got a call to action and everything in a good sermon. So
exactly,
and it's about the same, and a lot of times it's about the same length as a good sales letter. 20 minutes, 25 minutes, somewhere in there. Longer than that, people start looking at their watch, want to go to lunch. It's like a lot of parallels.
There are many. It's fun to see someone else see that similarity, but I've always seen it. Yeah.
Well, where do you want to start? I mean, obviously with number one, but do you want to give any background first about how you kind of came across these 5 neurochemicals? And
Yeah.
Did you start out as a copy? I mean, I know you were a pastor. Tell us about that transition first before we get into that. I want to hear.
Yeah, that is interesting because I didn't jump straight to copywriting. I was pastoring with my husband. Actually, we were both co-pastoring at the same church, and things sort of got really abusive in the organization itself, and we were told that we were failures because our church wasn't big enough, and then they transferred us to another position where they basically demoted us, and in that transition they wanted me to put my 1-year-old in daycare, and I just couldn't do it. I was having panic attacks. My husband thought I was going to commit suicide. It was a very, very dark time in my life, and in that lovely period I started Googling work from home, because I was like, what can I do to raise this little human that I was not ready to give up and have someone else raise 40 hours a week? And I found affiliate marketing. And from there, I bought this $99 course online. I was super not tech savvy at all. Like, I still had a flip phone, you guys. It was embarrassing.
And how long ago was this?
This was 2017.
Okay.
So not,
wow.
Definitely in the smartphone era, right?
Yeah.
And I was, like I said, I was pastoring, and my husband laughed. I didn't tell him at first when I bought this $99 course to learn how to be an affiliate marketer. I learned how to build funnels, how to run Facebook ads. I told him like a month later, and he just laughed because he's like, you don't even know how to turn the TV on. Like, how are you doing this? And so, yeah, the rest was history after that. I was so determined to make it work so that we could quit our jobs. And that's like a whole, I did write a book about that story, but we lived in a home that was fully furnished. We had 2 cars from the organization, our laptops, everything was provided for us. And then we were making about $2,500 a month combined salary. So pretty hard to get out of that situation. And I didn't do super well with affiliate marketing. I did okay, but copywriting, once I was good at it and I was getting some results, and there were a lot of people in that affiliate community that would ask for my help. And then one day somebody's like, oh, you could get paid for writing copy. And I was like, are you serious? This is so fun. I love this. Like, what is this person that I could be and get money for it? And when I remember it was September 6th of 2019, I was like, okay, I'm a copywriter. And I made over $35,000 the first 3 months, and I hit 6 figures after 11 months. And I was like, this is really crazy cool and fun. And I was getting my clients amazing results. And then I went on to double that my second year, and we were able to leave the ministry and buy a house, and all kinds of amazing things possible in our life because of copywriting. Once I discovered it and was like, hey, this is fun. I'm good at it. Let's do this.
That's awesome.
That's how I got into copywriting. Met Ray Edwards along the way. I did get certified by him, even though he was like, you don't need this. And I was like, well, I like learning, so I'm just going to do it for fun. And eventually finding the neurochemicals is just so many things. And you guys have probably experienced this in business as well, is thing like this domino effect. You meet this person, you're in this group, you hear this thing, and I'm in Titans marketing with Brian Kurtz. And there's another gentleman in there who also recently stumbled upon this concept in listening to Lori Morgan, who's a very well-known A-list copywriter, as she's big on stories. And he was like, it seems like you're triggering certain neurochemicals with different elements of the story. And so he started researching it, and then we kind of teamed up on some things these last couple months. So he is really where I've learned a lot of, and then I've done my own research based on some of the things that he had discovered, and he's written a book on it. And I'm currently reading also a book called High on Life, which is about how we bring these neurochemicals, like basically trigger them ourselves in our own bodies in order to get ourselves to do different things. It's a fascinating concept, and I'm super nerdy. Way back in the day, I was a science major, a bio pre-med major. So I still had that kind of history that then combined with copywriting. And I was like, this is so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I'm really into rewiring the subconscious mind and all kinds of stuff on the personal development side. So it was this like really cool intermarriage between copywriting and neuroscience. I'm like, this is fascinating. And so and in the meantime, I was also building custom GPTs that just blow my mind all the time when I use them. I'm like, this is so much better than basic AI. And like you experienced, John, is so fast.
Yeah.
When we're pumping out a lot of copy, and now I have something that can pump it out as good, if not better, than I could, at least for a first pass, and then just apply, obviously still my skill in my brain afterward. It's not 100%, but yeah, that combined, I get really nerdy when looking at all this stuff. So that's how I got into what I'm doing now.
That's very cool. Yeah, Brian Kurtz has been on the show. It's been a while.
Yep.
It's a couple of years since he's been on, but yeah, he's been on the show.
Nice.
Yeah. Can you say who the other person is that you're working?
Yeah, his name is Clive Cable.
Yeah. Okay. He's not been on the show, but I know of him. Mm-hmm. I've taken one of his courses, and as soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. He would definitely be into that. His copy is really, his copy is very simple, and like, I know his copy's supposed to be, but his like really feels simple, but it's really, really good. So I've always looked at his copy with like confusion. It's like, why does this work so good? So, right. Yeah, it's like something's going on here that I can't quite see. So I think maybe you're going to uncover some of that today. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So let's jump in. Like, what do we got to do first? What's the first thing we have to do, or the first chemical that we got to trip in the old noggin to get things going?
All right. Well, you might guess this one. It is cortisol, which we often think of as the stress chemical, or pain, if you will. And even Ray Edwards' Pasteur formula starts with P, which is pain, right? Mm-hmm. So triggering the cortisol, we have to get attention, especially in today's like ADD economy. And that's how we do it, is with pain. But the tricky part with all the chemicals actually is that there's a different level based on who you're talking to. Because some people, for example, if they're in a high level of baseline pain already, if you have too much cortisol, it will shut it down.
And shut everything down.
Yeah. So that it's not like you have these 5 chemicals and they're all at the same exact even, like 20%, 20%, 20%. Like, right. It really does make a difference on who your avatar is. And when I show the example at the end, you'll see, this one came up 25% cortisol, but on an offer I'm working on, it came up 45%. That my ideal market for that offer is a little bit higher. So it's very interesting to see how much of that needs to get triggered before you move into the other ones. And we often in copywriting we talk about like pain and the aspiration, right? And we have both, but how much of each for who? Yeah. It's never the same concoction, if you will, for every target market. So the beginning, though, is getting people's attention with cortisol. And kind of
how do you determine that amount? I mean, you have, and what's the sweet spot there?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that is more like Clive's work and what he's done. And I can share, actually, he said we can share his book. So I'm happy to send you that link after get his book. It's just a PDF right now, so I'll give you that file. But and that's where he kind of did the extreme nerdiness in there. And then I would say it's around like 30-ish, give or take, is what I've seen. So nobody's like an extreme cortisol buyer, like 90% or anything like that.
Well, it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason you wouldn't want to spike that too high is you're going to trigger flight, fight, or freeze.
Yeah.
And if you do flight or freeze or fawn, either one of those, like the sale's dead. They're going to be too immobilized to take action.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't really want them to fight with you either in the copy. So, but
Just got to wake them out of the coma, just enough to wake them out of that.
Yeah. You got to rustle the bushes enough to think, oh my God, I need to pay attention to this because that might be a tiger in the bushes.
Yeah.
And if you go too far past that, or you dwell on it too long, it just creates a lot of anxiety that eventually they just close the page, or, just can't deal with this right now kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I could see how in certain markets, like, like perimenopause, if you're going through a lot of that and you're under a lot of stress already with kids and, and all that kind of stuff, I would think you would not want to dial that up too much more. It's like they know they got a problem and they know they're feeling all these things already. It's just like a touch of it.
Right.
And then move into number 2. So
and what is grab their attention?
Yep. Just to say, hey, this might be something you need. Cool. Okay. Are there certain words or things that you use? Or is there phrases? Is it a story that you use? Like
that goes really deep into stuff, but there are some certain words, but it wouldn't be outside of like what maybe we're used to. Story-based is going to win 100% of the time. I mean, as a copywriter, I'm sure when I sat down at the piano, this one, it's a story, right?
Yep. Have you run that one through your GPT?
I have not, but I think Clive does in his book. I think that's one of the ones that he does.
Cool.
That would be interesting.
Is his book called Neurocopy?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've
seen it. Have you read it?
I think I've seen it. Maybe I downloaded it and started reading it. I don't know if I finished it or not.
He just did an updated version like last week. So, and he was saying that it's really changed since then. I had his first version too. And then his newer version, now that he's mad chemist, applied everything, and he's been working on it for a couple months.
Oh, cool. So. Yeah, I'll definitely have to get the newer version because I know it's not that recent. So, all right. So we get the pain, which we know, but I think the good distinction here for listeners to take away is that it's not the same amount of pain for every audience. You need to know who you're talking to and what pain they're already in, so you know how much to spike that. So where do we go from there? Where do we go from?
The key is just that it shouldn't be missing.
Yeah.
And it is something that's missing in a lot of copy. So the next one is dopamine.
Okay.
Dopamine.
Everybody's favorite.
Could have guessed that one.
Yeah.
And what's so we hear about dopamine, we hear about serotonin, we hear about these feel-good chemicals. Tell us, like, specifically, put on your pre-med hat, like, why dopamine second? What's going on with dopamine?
Dopamine helps you feel happy and have hope.
Okay. So hope.
Yep. It's the hope chemical. Okay. Because, and that again, like in copywriting terms, pain to aspiration.
Right.
Right. That's what we hear most. Again, it's just going back to the neurochemicals are underlying the terms that we've all been using. It's just a different layer and a different way to think about it.
Yeah. And I think I think it does help if you understand not just the chemicals, but what those chemicals are doing literally in the body. Like, it's not just, or in the brain and the body for that matter. Instead of just kind of these kind of feel good, frameworks that we've had for years, that I'm blanking on right now, but the classic ones, AIDA, attention, interest, desire, the pain, promise, push, those kind of things, all those. So to have these kind of with it. So what are you seeing as far as dopamine, as far as that percentage? I know it's probably going to be different for different people, but talk to us, flesh that out a little bit.
Yeah. Again, it is different, but and I would say just somewhere, if you could hit like 30% for all of them in terms of just that it's present, at least, you'll be way further along than if it's missing. And that's more
twice. So you've already, yeah. So on the first two, you've already said if it's missing. Do you see a lot of copy it's missing? These different pieces? Interesting.
Yeah. Which is interesting when we talk about all the frameworks that we know, ADA and Pastor formula and all these things. but yeah, I analyzed one the other night where it wasn't missing entirely, but the cortisol wasn't at the beginning. It was way lower in the page. And so it was too late to have cortisol.
Because by then
should have been at the beginning. Should have been waking them up early.
With it, because it's you wake them up, you alert them to the pain, but then you immediately give them hope. It's like, yes, you have this problem, but hey, you also have this hope. Like there's a solution.
It's not your fault.
We don't let them wallow in their pain for too long.
Right. And I think that's a big mistake I see, especially younger copywriters or newer copywriters make, is they can wallow in the pain too long sometimes. Because you hear so much talk, especially in kind of the certain biz oppy spaces, they put too much emphasis on pain, I think. And it just gets heavy handed.
It's really hypey and
so that makes a lot of sense. So dopamine gives them hope.
Yep. And these days with the hype, or bro marketing, as some people refer to it, the really hypey marketing, people are so savvy now as consumers that it's not going to work in your favor in a lot of cases.
Does this work? I mean, do all of these work with every person, regardless of personality, both male, female? Are there any changes on these that take
not
place?
That I've seen.
Okay.
And not that Clive, when he's researched all the original direct response that he shares in his book, the greats like Gary Halbert and Eugene Schwartz, back when it was direct mail, all 5 are present in the exact same order every single time.
Every time. Okay.
Every time. And they weren't consciously thinking about this, right? They didn't have AI to help them analyze and see if the neurochemicals were there, but they're all there. Every single one of them that's made $1 million or more, even up to $1 billion.
Well, part of that's knowing your audience too. So I got to say that, you got to know your audience.
Well, I think more than that, I think you have to, a good copywriter knows how a promotion should feel as you're reading it.
Yeah.
Right. Like like I'm working on one right now, and I can tell as I'm more so, if I write a promo and I'm still sold after, dealing with it for a couple of weeks, I know it's pretty good, right? Because I've seen the things and I've kind of poked around. So that feeling of kind of feeling that flow and that build as you go, whether you knew it was the chemicals or not, I think most good copywriters have a sense of that, of what that build up should feel like and the relief should feel like, and, that whole process. So I think it's kind of it's not just knowing your market, but it's knowing how that copy feels
right
as you're going through it.
Yeah.
If it stays, like I said, if it stays in the pain too long, or if it's too much hope too long, if you stay in the hope forever, then it feels hypey. It starts, drifts off into hype, and
and there's no urgency,
and there's no grounding to it. It's all up in the air, So, all right. So we've triggered some pain.
You got some dopamine.
This is like BDSM copy here.
Rush going.
Trigger some pain and then a little hope,
a little pleasure.
See, I'm gonna rebrand this as BDSM copy. Because you can't use that. You could. All right. So what's number 3?
Yeah. Now that we got them hooked on a little dopamine, what's next?
We next go to oxytocin. So oxytocin is our empathy and connection.
It's the love drug, right? The love molecule.
This is like I get you. I understand you. I've been in your shoes. Let me tell you about my story type of thing. They want to be understood, right?
Right.
Our target market wants to know that we get them. So that's what gets triggered there.
They want to feel seen and heard.
Yeah.
Paid attention to. All the things you want in a relationship.
It's not your fault. Not your fault.
That's a good question, Jonathan. Is not your fault dopamine or oxytocin?
I would guess
not your fault, dopamine or oxytocin.
Feels more like oxytocin.
I don't know, I think it's hope.
It's
I think it's dopamine.
Yeah.
It's hope because it's like, oh, it's not me. Like,
yeah, I think that's where the turn from cortisol to hope happens. If you use that phrase, which a lot of people do, I think that's what that is. It's like, oh, thank goodness it's not just me. But yeah, I could see it argued the other way too. But that's put that in your little GPT and see what happens. Like, what is that?
Figure it out.
What is that transition? Which transition is that? So tell us a little bit more about the oxytocin and the love. It's feeling seen, feeling heard. You're telling your own story that relates, I guess.
Yep. That's the main, if you remember, connection and empathy. Okay. It's because that's what, they feel seen and heard and known by you. And that is what you need for the setup for the next chemical.
Is this your favorite, the fourth one?
Serotonin. So serotonin is your trust. It's sort of, we would know KLT, right? Know, like, trust.
Yep.
Same, just a different wrapping, different way to say it.
Well, and serotonin is also your gut, right? So it's your gut. Serotonin is actually produced as much in the gut as it is in the brain.
Your gut's your second brain.
Right. Yeah. And it's actually faster than your brain in your head. There's a great book. It's probably 20 years old now, called The Other 90%. I don't know if you've read that one, Dawn.
I haven't.
It's super nerdy. Lots of stuff. It's called The Other 90% by Dr. Robert Cooper, I think is his name.
Yep.
Yeah, literally, I think it's 20 years old, but it was so ahead of its time when it was written. I'm surprised. And he has another book, but it's not nearly as good as that book.
I'll check it out. I do a ton of writing for the health and wellness industry.
Yeah, he talks a lot about these. He talks a lot about the first, second, even third brain. Your heart has its own emotional field as well. So, which if you're in the spiritual spaces, all that's, been true for years, but to see the science and the different things, it's pretty cool. So trust, serotonin, because serotonin is also a feel-good chemical.
For sure. Yep.
I mean, if you're on drugs, that's usually what's being triggered is serotonin, right?
Serotonin. Yeah. Serotonin and dopamine, you'll hear them kind of hand in hand or interchangeably. They are different, but they're both the feel good. They're just slightly nuanced, right? With dopamine being the hope and serotonin being that trust. Like, once you have established that connection because you empathized with them, then they trust you. And you have to be trusted for people to buy.
What are some ways that you establish trust in your copy?
A lot of it comes as a direct result of when we're triggering the oxytocin. So telling our story, being a relatable human. I think often the clients I've worked with, I say this a lot, is like, oh, your mess became your message. So they went on this journey, the hero's journey, they figured it out, and now they help other people go through that same journey faster without so much money or time or whatever it is. So, but what we forget is we're so used to like how we are now. We can forget what it's like to be ourselves, 3 years ago when we had that problem, which is where your ideal client is at.
Right.
And so when you're able to establish that language of like, I understand what it's like because I was there once, I did XYZ. I felt like this, my life was like this. And then I figured out this and this and this. That's how they get to trust you, is by you describing their pain in a way that maybe they've never even been able to articulate it, or because you become relatable. And relatability, not only in that you lived their issue or their problem, but you also still understand it. You're not so up here. You know how we talk about like putting people on a podium of like, oh, they're a pedestal, like, oh, you're way up here and I'm down here. But when you can bring that to be more neutral of like, hey, I'm just like you. I just have figured out a few things to make this process faster or something like that. So I think that's really where we trigger that trust.
Yeah.
And also not using super hypey language.
Yeah.
Is important.
Yeah. Speaking their language.
Yep. Their words, their language, not over promising, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Is this where testimonials are? I'm curious where you're at on testimonials these days. I mean, everybody still uses them. I'm not sure they're as useful as they used to be, but then again, like, I don't know. Are you seeing anything with testimony? It seems like that's where these would fit in too.
Yep. That's where a lot of trust is seen as social proof, AKA testimonials, case studies. I think what you see a lot more of now is less quotes and more like
stories,
screenshots.
Screenshots.
Yeah.
Either screenshots. So, which, I mean, yes, you could probably contrive those with AI as well, but it'd be a little bit harder. Screenshots of people's posts in their Facebook group or school group or whatever, or Voxer messages that you just kind of cut out, or Instagram DMs or whatever. So using screenshots, I think, is really powerful. Obviously, for things like weight loss, before and afters are very powerful because they give that visual. I still think social proof is one of the number one reasons why people buy.
Yeah.
Because it, number one, I think still triggers dopamine. It gives you hope of like, hey, they did it. That happened for a real person. So maybe I can. And that's our goal in copy. Like we have to believe they can do it. And then when they see that proof, they're like, oh, okay, I can trust this person. I can trust the pain that is going to be of me exchanging that money for this thing, because we'll like support that. We'll be like, oh, well, they have all this social proof. They have thousands of testimonials or screenshots. So I agree. 100% still think that it's a vital part of what we need to have. And as a consumer, I'm always looking at social proof.
Absolutely.
I won't buy stuff
anytime you buy on Amazon, what is the first thing you do? You go down and look at how many 5 stars, what percentage of 5 stars and 4 stars.
You look at the 5 and the 1, like you read.
Exactly.
I mean, even for things that are free, I cook a lot using recipes from online. And the recipes I choose are the ones that are, 4.6 or above. Or if there's one that's 4.9 and one that's 4.3, 100% of the time, I'm going to click on the 4.9 one because it has better reviews.
Yep.
And that's free. So I think it matters so much more in our buying decisions.
Yeah, you even see that in reels and stuff, right? Where somebody's talking about something and you jump to the comments to see what everybody else thinks.
Yes, right.
Because you had a reaction to it and you're like
who
you kind of want that validation is like, who else agrees with me in the comments? Like, am I the only one that thinks this is crazy? Or even like recipes, Dawn, like, you see the reels that have quick recipes. It's not the full recipe, but it's like an idea.
Right.
And you jump to the comments and then you see 10 people's like, I tried this. It tastes terrible. And you're like, oh, well, thank you. Saved me some time.
That's all it took. Just that one.
Social proof.
And I could also see how, no matter how strong that social proof is, if you started with that and tried to base everything on that, you don't. I mean, it's why Amazon products don't necessarily sell, because they almost rely too much on that if they don't have a good description.
Right.
Because it's just, you've skipped the pain. Now, probably they have the pain if they're looking for it on Amazon, right? There's already probably a little bit of pain.
Yeah.
But some of the hope, some of the other stuff is not probably dialed up. Maybe the percentages would be too low. And then they've got 1,000 5-star reviews. So if we're using your formula, it's like 90% serotonin, and like 2% cortisol and 2%, the other stuff, right? It's like, I don't know. I'm just guessing. If I was just trying to think of different, because I know you do some e-commerce stuff as well.
Yep.
You don't need a ton of social proof. It's like people just justify, what's the old saying? We always say, like, the emotion drives the buy, and then they justify it with the logic. So you don't need a lot. You need enough for them to justify, okay, this is the right choice.
Yeah, you need 3 to 5 that they can read, and then you need a bunch more that they're never going to read, but they just see there.
Yeah. So, yep, there we go.
It's like, okay.
Your best 3 right at the top.
Exactly. Yeah, always. The top and the bottom, somewhere else. Okay, so we've triggered cortisol through some pain. We've given them some hope, dopamine. We've shown them connection and empathy, oxytocin, and we want to trigger the serotonin, so we start building some trust. What's the final piece? Like, how do we bring this thing home and get them to click the button? Or whatever the next step is.
Great question, because you don't want to end on stress or adrenaline or anything like that. You want to make sure you don't trigger those at the end. So the ending is endorphins, which is an easy to remember because it has end right in there.
Yeah.
Endorphins, because endorphins are relief. You want them to feel relief that their problem is going to get solved.
Yeah.
And in fact, sometimes that relief is so high that people never open the product they buy.
Exactly. Once they click the buy, they think their problem's already been solved. And they never.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yes. Which then you get a whole nother problem as a business anyway. If you really care about your customers and all that, is how do you re-engage that person after that relief and get them? You almost have to go back through the cycle to get them to consume, especially in information products.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think information products is something like only 8% consumption, and it's a $41 billion industry.
Yeah, it's crazy. Do you do mostly info products, or you do services, or do you do? I know you do some e-com, but what do you do the most?
Most of what I've been doing lately in the health and wellness space is webinars to high ticket coaching. So that's where I've been playing a lot. And then my own offers, I have a service-based offer. And then what I'm creating now is an info offer in the Christian space utilizing the neurochemicals and the ability, neuroplasticity, neuroscience, and faith. So that'll be productized eventually. And then I do have books on Amazon. So those are products. So I've done a lot of things. I enjoy the variety of selling different things in that sense.
Yeah. Are you into human design, that theology or the stuff?
I am a generator, 100%.
I was going to say you're either a manifesting generator or generator, one of the two.
I'm a 6'2", which is funny. It's like the role model hermit. So I love copywriting. Oh, that's yours too? Mm-hmm. It's perfect for copywriters.
Yeah. Writers, copywriters, coaches.
Yep.
For sure.
I was like, when I discovered it a couple years ago, I was like, yep, that about sums it up for me.
Yeah. I can't believe a former pastor believes in human design. That's just crazy.
I believe God created us, so God could create all those things.
It's so crazy that, this is a side conversation, but like because when I stumbled across that, I was like, really? Like, you can tell all that for my birth date? Like, there's no way. That's
legit.
Hey, whatever, So
I think we still have to, look at it. You can't believe everything, kind of like you can't the old, what is it? The State Farm commercial. It's like, you can't believe everything on the internet.
Yeah.
You can't believe everything that comes out of ChatGPT.
Right.
I don't look at it as like gospel truth, but I really do see it as, I think Richard Bandler, is that the founder's name, who discovered human design. I think, my personal beliefs is that God can reveal all kinds of things. I mean, you look at people who, like crystals would be another example. Like, do they really have the powers or the things that people relate them to? Or like, could God have done that in creation?
Yeah.
Could God have designed that in the stars and when you're born? I'm like, sure. Like, he's infinitely creative, far more than I am. So I still just look at it, at least for my personal beliefs, through the filter of scripture. But I think there's a lot of value there, and we can learn a lot. And you don't have to throw the bath out, or the baby with the bath water.
Sure.
Yeah. Speaking of which, do you like using cliches in copy? Yes or no? Since you gave us a cliche there.
I just gave you a cliche. What do you ask? Because I just have you read Bill Schlay's Microscript book?
No, but Clayton Makepeace, who I worked with before he passed away, loved cliches in copy. Because he felt like they were basically contemporary wisdom and accepted truths that as soon as you said them, it just bypassed everything and went straight into the brain as fact. Mm-hmm. If it's placed correctly. So I'm curious what you,
because they had heard them so much. It's just part of it.
It's folk wisdom. It's our version of the Proverbs, right?
Yeah,
there's a lot of these cliches and stuff.
Yeah.
I think they can be very valuable to get that, like the vernacular and the language that they already know. And I wouldn't overuse them. I think there's a time and place for them, and certain ones I might not use. But microscripts is really fascinating. I just read it, so it's like very much on my brain. Of you start seeing it everywhere. You know, once you
and who is that? Who's that by?
Bill Schley, Schley, I think is his last name. You know, things like, and I had read this before months ago. We have the campaign, the seatbelt campaign, Click It or Ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be seatbelts save lives was their term, like forever. And then they changed it to Click It or Ticket. And the number of deaths has gone down like something insane, like 30 or 40% since that campaign.
So what, do they know which made it? So is it the rhyming that made it work, or is it the instead of it being like saves lives about other people, whereas Click It or Ticket's about me?
I think it's the rhyming. It's that our brains are just, it triggers that like easy to remember.
It's also got the hard C's, like Coca-Cola.
Hard C is supposed to be really good. Yep.
Yeah,
for the brain, but even things like melts in your mouth, not in your hands. Mm-hmm. You know, we probably all know that.
We also know it's not true. I don't know.
Yep.
Especially if you grew up in the South, it is absolutely not true.
It is absolutely not true. I have a funny story about that with my brother. He worked in Yellowstone National Park. He was in charge of their like environmental youth division at environmental education for many years. And he would then, after they'd like do trail work all day, he always had peanut M&Ms, like huge bags of them. And they would go jump in the hot springs or jump in the rivers to cool off and swim. And then they'd drive back to the dorms, and he would be driving. So he would always have the M&Ms in his lap. So his funny thing was like, melts in your crotch, not in your hand.
Yep. Got a rainbow.
Yeah.
Well,
right there.
Yeah. But that is, and Bill Schley talks about that phrase. That's the OG Mad Men. If you've seen the TV series.
Love that series.
Jonathan's favorite series right there.
You should read this book because he goes into it about the guy who created, I forget, Ted. Is that the name of the agency that Mad Men is basically written about?
Yeah.
But he was the guy that invented the melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
Oh, okay.
And many other.
Which compared to other chocolate in the day, like that was true, right? Because it did have the shell that was, you know, you weren't holding chocolate directly.
Chocolate, yeah.
You know, compared to a Hershey bar, right? So, yeah, makes sense. All right, so we've gone through the 5 chemicals. Cortisol, dopamine. You were going to show us an example, right?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to throw the screen up, and then. All right, we can see it on the screen. So if you're listening, this is a custom GPT, Dawn, that you've built?
Yep.
Okay, so you can't get this, but you can hire Dawn to fire it up for you. So if you want to see it, go to our YouTube channel, Persuasion by the Pint on YouTube, and you'll be able to see on episode, what are we at? Episode 416. Yep. You'll be able to see this on the screen, but we'll try to, Dawn, if you can kind of narrate it for the audio only audience while we're doing it too, that'd be good.
Yeah, sure. And I'll just keep it really quick. It just shows an example of what I did is I literally just did a screen capture of a homepage of a company and said, analyze this. And it came up with the neurochemical profile for who it thinks the ideal audience is. So obviously, if I had fed it that information beforehand, the analysis would probably be a little bit different. But I was just playing with this. And then it tells me, you know, level 1 emotional, like what they're doing, gives a score for each. Here you'll see it's missing cortisol. Like I mentioned earlier, that one gets missed a lot at the beginning. And then just goes through this analysis of what is getting triggered and then tells you the balance. Like, for example, cortisol is 2 out of 10 because it's missing for the most part. And then dopamine is good, it's moderate, oxytocin good, but late. Too much serotonin, so they weighed a little too heavy on that. And then it shows here, like you asked, the actual, like the right order or flow. So it shows the actual flow versus the ideal flow. And yeah, it just keeps going. Again, like I said, I won't
that's cool.
You with all of it, but it goes further and further. And then, if you really go deep into the analysis, I can then carry it further and say, okay, now that you've analyzed it, what do we do to change it? What do we do to add? What would you suggest? And then that's like a whole nother process.
Yeah.
So can you also just start with this process, knowing the market and the product? Maybe they don't have existing copy. Is there a way to use this to kind of outline your copy or at least get started?
You could do like an analysis of your ideal client. The way I've built this is to look at it after. So you've already got something. I have other GPTs that write copy for me. And then this is like a filter past that.
Okay.
I could build one maybe. Actually, I did this earlier this week. Clive helped me build one that's this is built into it so that the copy I haven't tested any copy out of it yet, but it should already have the neurochemicals. It's for the offer I'm creating for the Christian market to sell. That combination, like I mentioned earlier, of neuroscience and faith, bringing those two things together. I have an offer that I will be launching. And so I built a GPT to write copy specific to that audience with all of this in mind. So I will test what copy comes out of that. And it should already be a much higher level because it's built on top of this framework. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll still run it through this GPT because that's the beauty of GPTs is they do way better at what they do when you just give them one job.
Right. Yeah. And that's where, you're not going to be able to just, somebody listening to this episode, they're not going to be able to just take these 5 things, put it in chat and say, hey, look at the sales letter. It'll probably give them some information, but it's not going to be able to break it down the way, because the constraints are not there. It's going to wander off and.
No, this is a good framework for it. So. Yeah. I like this.
You should build one of these. So I took it off the screen there. Did you want to show anything else on that?
Nope.
Okay. Have you considered doing that as a sermon builder as well?
I've thought about it, and I guess my hesitation is, and what I've played around with and talked to a few people, I'm like, will they be hesitant as pastors to have AI writing their sermon for them?
No, there's already people doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. I've built my own.
I have no doubt there.
No doubt that they're using it already. So maybe there is a market for that. I have built my own, what I call my spiritual mentor, which is, programmed with scripture since it's available online, and certain open public domain books like Think and Grow Rich and Florence Scovel and things like that. And so I use that as like, not really spiritual therapy, but my spiritual walk. And I talk to it like that. So it's interesting because I think it's a very powerful tool. Again, it's not the be all end all, still pray to God and things like that, but it's such a helpful tool. And 100% it could write sermons so amazing. And you're right there. I'm sure there are, because I know I've heard some sermons that were not great.
Yeah,
probably ChatGPT.
Some people need to be using something like that.
Is your husband still in the ministry? Does he?
He's not. We both had to step out together. Just the way structurally the organization, it's all or nothing. You both do it or you both step out. So we both had to resign. We had 32 years of ministry between us. He had 25. So he's still so gifted and so talented. I'm waiting to see what opportunities come in the future, because he is such a good preacher and teacher. He is not so sold on ChatGPT. He teases me that I'm creating Chat Jesus.
Jesus. That's fun.
Hey, somebody's probably already got that GPT out there. So
yep.
I'm
probably
sure.
Stole that one.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, this has been good. Dawn, I'm looking at the list here. Is there anything kind of a last thing you'd want to say about this process? And then we'll talk about where people can find you and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing I would say is go into, if you're not using AI, whichever one you like best, Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT. I build them all in ChatGPT. If you're not utilizing custom GPTs of some sort in whatever LLM you want to use, that's where I would say, like, at least start there. There's so much potential. And I mean, you could just see in that couple of minutes of what can be done when you have the human input into the machine and then utilize it for what it's meant to do as a tool, not to replace us completely. But, people always say, AI is not going to replace you. Somebody who's using it is. And I personally think we need to be using AI. I think it's an amazing tool to help us do better. And for me, it's all about the impact that we want to have in the world as business owners. We solve problems. Like, that's our purpose, right? To help people, to answer people's prayers. And what better way to do that when we know the tools and can use tools to help us do it faster and help us do it better. Like, my copy's better now that I understand neurochemicals. So
absolutely. How much time did it take you to create this custom GPT, with these, using these 5 principles or these 5 neurochemicals? Like,
this one, that's a hard question to answer, because I feel like custom GPTs, it's been a process. I started building them in April.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I still am probably a baby in terms of my understanding of them and everything. And so much has built on all this time that I've already spent building other ones. So this one, I mean, I did this one more recently and working with Clive in the last month or so. And I would still say it's in its like baby infancy stage. I'm still like fiddling a lot with it and trying to refine it and things.
Well, that's the thing. Once you have them, I mean, you can fiddle with them and you can fine tune them when you start seeing the output, right? So,
yeah.
Did you learn a lot of this from Gasper? Or who else did you learn the custom GPTs from?
Such a funny question, because I don't know. And I'll tell you why. So I got this like weird email that said, like, your coffee appointment at 7:30. And I was like, I don't have an appointment for coffee with anyone at 7:30. So I opened this email and it was super weird. I don't know who it's from. It has no name, but at the bottom is a link to a Google Doc. And I don't even remember like what it said before the link. So I clicked the link, and the link is a sales page for a custom GPT course. And at that time, I did not know those existed. Like, I was like, custom GPTs. I was using AI, but I didn't know what it was. And I read the sales, it's long Google Doc. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is interesting. Like, this is really cool. I think I like this. And so I bought the course. And I still, in none of those videos does it have the guy's name. He never shows his face. Like, I still to this day, like, I have no idea who this person is, how they got my email, how it ended up in my email, why I opened the link. I don't know, except that it was a God miracle, because it has completely transformed my business 100%. Like, this is all I do now. For the most part, I still write copy for some clients, but utilizing AI, which makes it way faster. It gave me, I don't know, like more than $60,000 the first 3 months of learning custom GPTs, added to my revenue that I wouldn't have had otherwise, which is pretty significant for a lot of copywriters.
Yeah.
They'd go for that in 3 months. So yeah, I think it's just been a skill that's absolutely invaluable to me. And I got so excited about it. I taught copywriters back in June. I did a course that I now sell on Evergreen on how to build them. So I do, like, literally it's copy and paste. You could cheat everything off of me from that course. I was like, here's what you put into it. And that's all. And you can have all of my GPTs from that. So yeah, that would be my last word, is like, don't discount what AI can do, because it is a phenomenal tool. We're living in an incredible time in history.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Well, how do people find out about you?
Yeah, they could go to copyqueensinc.com, which I am going to be revising with new copy from my Copybot. But that's where they can find me. And also I play a lot on LinkedIn and Instagram. So love to have conversations with people. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just chat. So if you look me up, Copy Queen, Dawn Copy Queen on LinkedIn or Instagram. And
can people find
the episode?
Can people find your course or your product there that you were just talking about?
It will be updated very soon so that it can be found. Yes.
Cool.
Or you can DM me and I'll give you the link directly.
Yeah, I'd like to check that out.
Yeah, I'm going to drop your Instagram in the comments as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and I'll follow you over there.
Amazing.
Consider yourself followed.
Follow you back.
Yeah. I don't post much good stuff on Instagram. So,
yeah.
But yeah, very cool. So, well, John, this has been fun.
Has been. Thank you.
Love this idea. And I love just the,
Thank you.
I think this will help a lot of people. Just, I mean, even if you just went 20% across the board on each one, and I know as a human, it'd be hard to like actually qualify that, you know, to know where one stops. And I assume there's some, it's not an abrupt, like, okay, I'm triggering, you know, cortisol for 3 paragraphs. And then there's going to be some overlap and flow from one to the next a little bit, I would think.
Yeah. And that's where, I mean, to be honest, I get lazy. That's why I have AI.
Exactly.
Right? To analyze that.
And just, I mean, we're human beings. Some weeks you're going to be tired and your copy's not going to be as on point as it would be. Right. And that's the beauty of the GPT. You can put out, I mean, it's why people have factories, right? And not handmade things, because you can put out the same product over and over and over at a high quality that you just can't do by hand, you know, because you're going to have times that you're sick, or you're going to have times that you're, you know, your energy is just low or whatever. So I think from that standpoint, it's great for clients because you're delivering a higher product more often, higher quality product more often, and faster. You know,
so you can work on your business and not
in your
business. That's what we should be doing, right?
That's a catchy phrase. You should trademark that.
Custom GPTs have saved at least 30 to 40 hours a week of work.
Okay. So you say that. So I got to ask you, because I see a lot of people who love AI and they're talking about how much time it saves, but then they just work more.
Actually, I don't. So in the summer, I was ghostwriting a book and writing webinars for clients, and I was working not even 10 hours a week. My daughter was home and we were playing, and I would take some calls. But honestly,
because ghostwriting a book alone could be 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but not with AI.
Not with AI. I mean, I would, when I do the books, I spend maybe 2 hours a week.
Yeah.
Writing them. So the whole book, you know, is anywhere from 15 to 20 hours total for me.
For how long of a book?
About 200 pages.
Okay. So 25, 30,000 words, somewhere in there.
Maybe that one's over 40,000. Yeah. And then when I published a Christian romance novel just for fun in November, and I did that in like 2 weeks, but I wasn't even working on it every day. And that was over 75,000 words. It ended up being over 400 pages. And that was entirely AI. I mean,
that's interesting. So that's a different topic altogether when you're writing fiction, because you're creating the characters and you're creating the story.
Did you just use a chat bot, or did you use a custom GPT or somebody else's software version of it?
I say co-created because, again, there's a lot of human influence. But yeah, my custom GPT, and then I did use Claude for some things, kind of bouncing back and forth and using both depending on what I liked. But
Claude seems like a better writer than
it's different with storytelling. I found that it was better, but ChatGPT is way better for like outlining and coming up, like with ChatGPT, where I started was coming up with the idea for the book. Actually, there's 12 books. So I'm on book 2 of 12 right now.
Wow.
I'm kind of a go big or go home human generator, you know.
This is a series you're putting.
So you get bored with it, then you're done with it.
Yeah, it's a whole series, or will be a whole series.
That's great. So you've knocked out 2 of 12.
No, I'm in the middle of 2 now because I pretty much took December off. I was like, I had a ton of client stuff and just didn't have the free time.
So I'm just curious. So you went about, you had 12, you had 12 in mind to begin with, right? Before you started.
Yeah. With conversation with chat. So even coming up with the idea. So the basic premise of the book is that there's, the matriarch character dies and the granddaughter discovers these 12 letters that she's written to different people in this small town. And each book is based on a letter that dead grandma had written. So book 1 is to the father of her high school sweetheart that had been gone. She left town, was gone for 10 years, and she comes home for the funeral and, comes back to small town life that she never wanted to do and yada, yada. So that's the basic premise, which I came up by having a conversation with chat. And then I came up
Sounds like a Hallmark movie right there.
Yeah. Dawn would like the flower letters, Sean. Those are.
Yeah. Are you familiar with that? The flower letters? Have you heard of that?
No.
Oh my goodness. Oh, it's a business that this guy created. You just look up the flower letters.
Okay.
But every 2 weeks they send you this letter, and it's like a love letter. You can pick different genres.
Yeah, there's like 6 different genres. Like you could go back to,
and every 2 weeks you get a love letter in the mail, basically that you read, and then it unfolds over the course of a year.
Yeah,
that is so cool.
It's like an $8 million a year of business now.
And I bought I looked at it even after Sean and I talked about it. So I got my wife this for Christmas, and she loves it because she's already gotten her second letter, and she loves the old
now there's like
England, British, 1800 genre. So the romance there. So
there's spinoffs. So cool. There's like murder mysteries that you can solve they send you a file every month.
It's incredible.
And you have to sit down and put all the pieces together and figure it out. It's got letters and all kinds of stuff. Like
so awesome.
Yeah. So and I think that's a good way, because there's going to be a lot of pushback with AI because people can't really tell what's real. So if you can put some physical elements in it, even if it's written by AI, it's going to feel more real if I get a letter in the mail.
Yeah.
And it's so well done too. The letters are so.
It looks beautiful. I pulled it up on my other screen.
Yeah, they're all written in cursive. Like it's very authentic looking.
There's a couple podcasts where the husband that helps run the company, like he's been interviewed and he's talked about how much is doing now and just how it went crazy, and they got good they got good ads and that kind of stuff, but it's a cool product. Like that's a nice blending of modalities and everything else, and I think that's gonna it's an experience. And Jonathan and I have talked about this a bunch of times.
Yeah,
physical and experiences are going to make a huge comeback over the next few years.
Rachel's like she's excited. Like she gets 2 a month. So, we talk about that. That trip to the mailbox again. People love the going back to the physical.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and I'll bet you anything. If at 6 months they sent a letter to her that says, "Hey, other flower letter readers are getting together for a women's retreat."
Absolutely. Yeah.
She'd be there, right? Because it'd be your tribe. It'd be a little book club.
Sure.
They would sign up for that in a heartbeat, So there's other back end. I don't know if they do anything like that, but there's back end opportunities there galore for that kind of stuff. So,
so cool.
Yeah. Dawn's head is spinning right
now.
She's like, can y'all shut up? I got to build a GPT real quick.
Yeah.
She's off.
Hey, this
she's
is worth the time, right? I mean, like interviewing, it's like.
Yeah, she's like, date night's canceled. I got a GPT to build, custom GPT to build.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned that, because I remember about a year ago, somebody on Titans was like, I talked to ChatGPT more than my wife. And I laughed. I was like, that's ridiculous. But
wow.
Definitely true now. I talk to Chat more than my husband.
Oh, I use Chat more like for the personal stuff, and I use Claude more for like work.
Yeah.
There's something about the way Chat, like Claude gets a little too, I don't know, it doesn't have that same feel on just like everyday personal questions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have that same feedback feel that I think Chat does. I mean, we'll see once they start rolling out ads and things like that on chat. And now they got chat health coming out, that should be interesting. Because I'm sure that's going to be, who's buying the first ads on that, right? Pharmaceutical companies.
Of course.
And all of a sudden, all your answers are going to be like, have you tried, whatever?
Ozempic?
Yeah. No, I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the end right there when ads start coming into the platform.
Yeah.
But, that's
I'm sure we'll be allowed to upgrade to a premium edition that doesn't.
Yes. Ad-free edition, of course.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. That's how they all start, right? It's free. Then there's a paid tier. Then there's an ad tier. Then there's a paid without ad tier. Like it's just like we know the drill at this point.
Brilliant business model, that's for sure.
Yeah, until everybody's got so many subscriptions, they don't know what to do with them. So
exactly.
So I'll ask you this before you go, and then we'll let you go. Your go-to is chat. Do you use any other Perplexity, Claude? Do you use any of the other? Do you have subscriptions to all of them? Do you use an aggregator of any kind? I saw Perplexity now has all the models in it.
All in it. Chat Hub brings in 6, like Perplexity and Claude and Chat. So I do that sometimes. Again, my go-to is ChatGPT. Sometimes I'll hop into other ones just to compare.
Yeah.
Which is always, I think, interesting. I think there's a level of, you need to have a balance, right? You can't know all of them.
Yeah.
And be good at all of them. And I happen to choose Chat because I got that beautiful gift from God for a custom GPT course. So it kind of narrowed my focus on ChatGPT. And
and they're all watching each other for features and all that stuff. So they're gonna keep one up in each other. So I agree. I think you can. Right now, I have Chat and Claude, and that's pretty much the only 2 I use. But I am curious. I didn't realize Perplexity had added in the other things. I guess revenue must not have been good enough for them.
Sure.
So now they're going to aggregator.
I've never had a Perplexity subscription, so I'm not as familiar.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
it's
what
great for research.
Yeah. Even, what I've heard is using between the combination of deep research and really good prompts in ChatGPT, you can get as good, if not better, than Perplexity.
Yeah.
So again, it's that scope, right, of focusing, like learning one tool really, really well versus knowing how to use 5 tools.
Right.
I've just kind of committed to ChatGPT and learned that.
And they're all going to get to the point where it's like Google, like it does everything you need, and it's kind of going to do it automatically, right? So if I need research, whether I'm in Chat or Perplexity or Claude, they're going to pull the best features of each and try to aggregate them down to one tool to where it'll do 80% of what you need, So I agree with you. I think choosing one model is probably the way to go, and having a backup that you can keep it honest with, I guess. I threaten my different chats sometimes to I'm going to put this in Claude and see what they say.
Way better to threats than being nice. So I threaten it all the time. There was one time it was like, whoa, slow down. I can't commit to, so what was that? I think I threatened it like I was going to lose my house or something. If its answer wasn't good. And it's like, if you need to get help for that, here's where you can go. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. I'll sometimes say to Chat, I'm like, I'm going to put this answer in Claude and see what they say if you don't give me this great answer.
Oh, I totally do that. I'm like, I will switch LLMs. And then it'll be like, okay, I'm sorry. I will do it right this time.
Yeah. Little red flash, bulb flashes over at OpenAI headquarters, subscriber switching, give more power, use more water.
Mayday.
Yeah. So,
it's funny this week. It's like you're thinking about everything that it's, eliminating one thing at a time that we've been so accustomed to. And so my wife got on it this week, and we're planning a trip for March. And it's, travel agents are, it's going to destroy the whole travel agency, because you can go in and say, I'm going here. I'm going to be here for a week. What do you suggest? Where should we go? What should our itinerary be? And boom, it's like within seconds, it's.
Was that Gasper on our last show that he was talking about? He had a friend and they were just walking around town and they were kind of narrating. They said, "Hey, what's the best restaurant near us?" And it just like, based on this. And
exactly.
Whereas Google would give you geographically, but it wouldn't give you any opinion on it, right? It would just, other than maybe the ratings.
Food preferences, or hey, we have kids, so this, can't include any bars. That sort of thing. Like it can do that all, or food allergies. Like it's phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, my wife's a nanny, and the person that she works for uses it all the time. She'll just like take a picture of her fridge and say, "What can I make for dinner?"
And
it'll whip up a recipe.
It's incredible.
I mean, that's insane.
It's amazing.
That's crazy. I'm not ready for the robot that comes in the house and does that, but I'm sure I will be soon.
I am. If they clean.
You are. I don't know. I don't want us all to end up like Wall-E. So I'm still.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Doing some things ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be off on some ship somewhere sitting around.
I'm able to walk.
I mean,
exactly.
Do you ever worry that like if chat continues to get good enough that it because I know people say that you're not going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by somebody who uses AI. Well, that's the first step. But do you think that it continues to improve and then we've just got to find other stuff to do? I mean, where are you at on that? Or have you just not faced that?
I think we just have to keep getting better at what we do, because there's an element to ChatGPT. Chat doesn't have a heart or a soul.
Yeah.
It can't. It's still
tell a good story.
Yeah, it still isn't at that level. It doesn't feel emotions. It can know about emotions, but it still doesn't have that experience, that human experience that we have. So, but that being said, like you still have to be pushing yourself to grow and to learn how to use this tool well. I mean, we have in one of the companies I work for, they did just cut a copywriter. So we went from 3 to 2 because of AI. So there is definitely a reality of, and I was talking with a client yesterday who he consults on helping with business ops. And he's like, basically what we did for this company is we went from 5 people to 1 because they use Coda as an operating system, and he does the workflows and everything, and they create custom processes for all these companies. And they eliminated 4 positions because of it and made it a much cleaner process. And that's phenomenal to my brain. I love the details. I love the structure. And, I don't want to see people out of jobs, but then I'm like, well, then get creative. Figure out where you fit. For me, I was told last March, this guy was like laughing at me. He's like, I would never hire a copywriter because AI writes it better than you could anyways. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Nice thought. It's like, I sound kind of arrogant, but it got me, it really did push me to be like, okay, what else do I need to know about AI? How much more could I, and that literally the following week, or maybe it was only 2 days later, is when I got the mysterious email about the custom GPTs. And so that was part of me being like, maybe I do need to up my skills for this, because just being a copywriter that does it sort of the old fashioned handwritten way isn't enough anymore. And there's always, human ingenuity. We just have to be creative. Like, I don't think, yes, jobs are going to disappear for people who are lazy and aren't willing to create something different, create a need for themselves in something. And I still have found that over and over and over through my copywriting career. We used to just be able to be a copywriter, and then it was like, oh, you have to be a list manager and a copywriter and, be in their Klaviyo accounts or their Active Campaign or whatever, and be able to schedule. And that was another skill that was like, you have that skill, or being able to build the funnels and write the copy. I knew how to do both. So it was like all along, I don't know if it's just having an eye for it or being like, I don't want to be the person that gets, I don't want to be the next Blockbuster. And the reality is people who are unwilling to look at AI and figure out a way to still exist are going to become Blockbuster or, the famous the Kodak scene in Mad Men. Kodak doesn't exist anymore because they were stuck on film and they did not embrace the digital world, and Blockbuster could not embrace the digital world. So I think that's, let's learn from history and other businesses that didn't.
Well, that's what I mean. Give it to Netflix because they did make that pivot.
Mm-hmm.
They could have stuck to their guns with CDs, DVDs by mail, and they made that pivot quick. And now they still own the market for the most part.
Yeah, it's a huge. I don't know what they're valued at annually, but it's big.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot more than I'm valued at, that's for sure. So, So anyway, well, we could keep talking, Don. We might have to have you back on again. It's been fun.
Yeah, let me know. This was super fun.
If you got a second, hang around in the green room for a second. We'll talk to you after the show. We're gonna do a quick outro, and then we'll come right back to you.
All right, sounds great.
All right,
good stuff. Good show.
Yeah, man. Now my head's spinning, like all this stuff. Like I haven't spent enough time with custom GPTs. And now I'm like, well, crap. Between Jason and that crew, that we had on, I'm like, all right, I guess 2026 is the year for learning custom GPTs because, I think it does speed up the whole process instead of just trying to argue with chat every time you want to start something.
Right.
Have some things.
Some commercial opportunity too there.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Create something for your audience. It's got my head spinning. Or wheels turning. So
we between that and some of the app building tools like Replit and some of the other things I mean you could build an ecosystem. Yeah. Like your book Selling on the Green. Right. Now you could build an app that would help you track those conversations or whatever. Before you couldn't do it, you'd have to hire a huge app development team or all that stuff. But so pretty good stuff. So we'll there's a couple links in the comments on Facebook and YouTube. We'll put some stuff in the show notes. But Jonathan, I'll let you take it out.
Yeah, and we'll have those on the show page again. Episode 416. If you're going to the website, you can check that out. persuasionbythepint.com. You can check us out on all of your favorite channels, whether it's Spotify, Apple, iTunes, wherever you find your favorite podcast. Be sure to check us out and subscribe. And Sean, that's a wrap. I guess we'll see you all next week. Do you have a guest next week? I'm trying to remember. Is that
I think next week we'll probably do a flight, and I think the 23rd we're gonna have we're gonna be talking about cults again. We love talking about cults. So we'll talk about cults.
Teach you how to start your own cult in 2026. Yeah. So that'll be fun. We don't need as if we don't we haven't had enough episodes on cult building.
Maybe we could create a custom GPT cult, so it's like a digital cult. It's like
just thinking about that. I mean, perfect.
A lot less headache. Whatever. Like so, all right, we'll talk. We'll do some kind of synthesis on those two and that. But next week will probably just be, unless a guest pops up, it'll be a random flight of persuasion next week.
All right, sounds good to me. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See ya.